Mahaparinirvana, or the extinction of self, which is the troublemaker, then the being is reunited with life itself and continues to exist in life as life, in a great reservoir of life. But the only way it can come back is through life. In other words, that which cannot be born again on earth is born again in the heart of every believer, because it has now become universalized and is one with all that lives, and becomes part of the soul heritage of dreams or ideals or hopes or aspirations, which are to bring ultimate liberation to others. It's a fascinating story and a very interesting doctrine, and we are gaining considerable information and assistance from it in our studies of abstract philosophical problems. The psychology of the Buddhist system is extraordinary, as Professor Max Muller pointed out. Whereas most of our systems are essentially founded in theology, this is founded very largely in a kind of cosmic justice. It is not a system in which you worship primarily by paying homage to something. You worship by releasing life, wisdom, and truth through your own conduct. There is no ritual that can take the place of release. And this release must be by intention. And this intention comes by dedication. No one is expected to be better than they can be, but each one is expected to be a little better than he might be. And this process keeps on going in the redemption of the human being. There is no theological structure. All goes back to a great astral theology or a great psychotheology, in which the universe itself is one vast living thing. And the Amidas regard it as the Buddha Amida. And this great living thing, in whom we live and move and have our being, is also the thing in which this thing itself lives and moves and has its being in us. And we are gradually achieving the liberation of the Amida. We are gradually fulfilling the vow of Amida. All the world together, by growing, reaches the point where it fulfills the original vow, namely that we are now ready with all other creatures to go with Amida into the Western Paradise. When this happens, then we have all achieved. But Amida cannot make this happen. Amida can only sit quietly, and through helping, through teachings, through art, through music, through contemplation, through meditation, and through all these self-disciplines, to inspire the individual to finally make this adjustment and advancement for himself. The individual becoming aware of the great law, becoming aware of the eternal plan, has the right to dedicate himself to it. And through this dedication, carried on through many lives, he ultimately becomes part of the liberating power. The only way we can pick this old earth up and put it back among the stars is for each individual to pick himself up by the nape of the neck and put himself back on the path of integrity. There is nothing else that will do it. There is no way that we can look forward to a time when the fulfillment of the great rule can be accomplished except by ourselves. Now, some theologies approach it differently, on the ground that there will be a dividing between the sheep and the goats, and that those who do not make it will simply go to perdition, be eliminated, or will be passed into some other state of condition, and that only the righteous will survive. The Amidas doctrine can't accept that. any more than it can accept a salvation which does not find place for a small bird or a little worm or an insect, or maybe a tiny thing living upon garbage and corruption. That thing too must come to attainment. Therefore, in Amidism, there cannot be a division in which the good go on and the evil do not. The good in man goes on and the evil fades out. But there is no way in which Amida can achieve liberation by casting out of his own mercy, his own love, and his own wisdom any soul for its imperfection. Therefore, the labor must go on until each one is finished. There can be no release, no perfection, no ultimate state except that of reunion with the perfect love of the Amida Buddha. This is perhaps a summary, but it may give you a slight understanding of some of the interesting points in connection with this faith, which may make some points a little clearer to us. We do not have to accept the faith. It has nothing to do with it. In fact, secretly and now more generally, it is realized that in the first century, Christianity in its original form reached India, and that it was at the time that Christianity in its original form reached India that the great vehicle was created. In other words, it is now suspected that both of these things happening in the first century A.D. are not merely coincidental, and that a very large part of Mahayana Buddhism has been inspired, influenced, directed, and conditioned by contact with Christian principles. So we have another interesting point for general consideration. Now I have an announcement I'd like to make, which I hope you'll listen to fairly attentively. We have on our program a lecture to be given here, I believe, on October 21st. Let's see, this is canceled. The speaker was a person by the name of Barbara Taub, T-A-U-B, and by circumstances beyond her control, she is unable to be here. So if you were planning on this, make the correction on your program. And now I'm going to give a little time to myself now. I'm going on 2 weeks vacation. And I will then be back with you as usual, and I hope that you all have a good time. Be sure and visit Mrs. Olson's collection of pictures in the library. They're really outstanding, and I know you'll enjoy them. Thank you very much.